but I wanted you to know roughly how the payment types work with the units. Over half are paid manually, which means they go into the scout office and pay the professional some way, shape, or form. And then we have about 12% and 30% that are doing the online payments. And the bulk, of course, is ACH, where there's no fee. And people ought to just be aware that we are handling a lot of paper through the districts yet. Even though it's done online, they come in, units have to come in with their payment check and bring in their charter detail. So our DEs, our rechartering partners on the professional side in every district are much involved with rechartering. And finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about defects. This is a summary of types of defects. Now, some charters have more than one type, and this is a dynamic. It changes a little every day. So we did this when we had the maximum amount of defects we thought. And missing the charter partner agreement form is obviously the big one. And then after that, it doesn't, there are a lot of little things. And if you look at them carefully and think about them, many of them relate to forms. So this gives you a preview for those who can't make it, a short summary of what we're going to be talking about, looking ahead to the future and how we can do better going forward next year. And that concludes our update of this. Ken Norn and I look forward to seeing you in the breakout room.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate it. Thanks for all your hard work. You've really knocked it out of the park this year in terms of supporting the team. So we really appreciate all you've done. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to, with great honor, I'd like to present Tim Ecola, who was our MCC Council Commissioner. Over to you, Tim.
Okay, just had to wait for Chris to unmute me. I did get a haircut, so I'm not sure if you couldn't hear me or if it was just a haircut. It's one of the two. Hey, what a great day for scouting, right? I got to tell you, I am so happy to see all the participation today. You guys over in Great Lakes are really knocking it out of the ballpark, and I appreciate the opportunity to just spend a couple minutes with you. Don't want to take up too much of your time and just kind of go over some high-level stuff with you and kind of see what I can do to participate. Talking about a great day for scouting today, our scout troop, our Scouts BSA troop, has welcomed five new Webelos that crossed over last month for their first camp out in the cold and the snow. And they are right outside here, right where I'm at, setting up their tents and their axe yard and their dining station. And so I may have to pop out because I am the second leader for that. So if I don't get to a breakout, I apologize, but I did want to spend a few moments with you. I'm not sure how many of you have seen this slide, fitting it all together. I know Wayne Hastings probably did, because I believe he was part of the team down there at Philmont back in June of 21 that helped put this together. And I think this is a great way of just really fitting it all together. And I do begin most of my presentations to the MCC Council, Commissioner Cabinet and the Executive Board with this slide. And I don't really go into detail with it. I just kind of focus on that little box in red there, the culture, be the heart, build relationships, and change lives. And I think that's what we as commissioners do, and that's what you do every day, whether you're a unit commissioner supporting 1 or 3 or 5 units. I know some of you have more than that, and we'll talk a little bit about how we want to get that a little balanced out. But I think it's also important to kind of look at that triangle there, right? At the bottom is the base of what we do, right? Without the scouts, without the kids, we wouldn't have a purpose. And I'll talk about purpose in a moment. And then we build on that by supporting that with volunteers and units. And that's, really where we are in the center there as a commissioner, by understanding our mission and vision as BSA, understanding the culture and culture changes. What are our objectives and what's our focus? And you can see over here in the corners the focus And I'm not going to read those to you. I think there's nothing surprising there. So Mark, if you want to move to the next slide, it'll be a surprise because I don't remember what slides I put together. It was only Tuesday. You'd think I would remember 4 days later what that was. All right, purpose. I did talk about that. Wow, it's almost like I read these before. So I think, and it's interesting, Mark and I and Dave Tabergen were on a call on Tuesday evening with the council commissioner from the Sam Houston Council down in Texas, who also has division commissioners and division set up. And we were trying to and they've been doing it, Mark, I think they said since the mid 90s.
Right. Long time, over 20 years.
Yeah, they've been on the journey a while. We just wanted to kind of get a sense. And Debbie Rollison is their council commissioner. And her, let me look at my notes here. Her vision, she came on board as council commissioner last July as well. Connect, serve, and inspire. So, and I like that. But then I looked at that and I said, I feel that ours is to be engaged, which to me means to be connected, to share information, right? That's where we're connecting. And then to visit and contact units. I think there are a lot of great things we're doing as commissioners and a lot of great things we need to do as a team. But if we are not at our base core, being engaged with the units and unit leaders and the districts and the council to get that information shared across, and then actually making those visits and contacting meaningful visits that you record in commissioner tools, then we're really missing the opportunity we have to really keep this process going. Next slide, please. All right. I did want to kind of talk, speaking of resources, we want to both make sure that our unit leaders, whether Cub Masters, a crew advisor, a ship lead advisor, or a scoutmaster, or committee chairs, etc. On the MCC website, there are resources for those folks, but we do, Ron Garrison and his team and the team have really worked hard with Chris Hopkins and others over the last several years to put together a commissioner resource page, which is dynamic. To say dynamic, I don't mean it's wow dynamic. I mean, it's always evolving and changing with input from you all. What do you want to see there, right? So it shouldn't be something that you go to today and then in 4 months, it's still the same information. So you need to feed that back to me, to Ron Garrison, to Mark, to say, hey, you know what would be really useful on this site is X, Y, or Z. So I just wanted to point that out. If you go up to the resources that's highlighted in red and click that and come down and get to the page, you'll see a lot of good information there. So I just wanted to share that with you. Next slide. So many of you were actually at the November retreat up at Rotary, and thank you for your attendance and participation, because it wasn't just a weekend of fellowship and camaraderie, although it was, and I love that. I love that we are at that point in time had the opportunity to get out of the pandemic phase, though we're still in the pandemic, I got it. And looking at last weekend's weather, feeling like, all right, we are coming on that cusp again where we can get out and get together, whether it's PACs, crews, troops, or commissioners, right? So it's always good to get together. But that group got together in November, beginning of November, and for the past 3 months after that, the 3 months after that, really worked on moving forward with how are we going to achieve these. And I'm not going to go into there's like 20 slides. I'll let Mark and the rest of the team at a different opportunity share that. But really, this is what the team's developed by looking at what are our goals for 2022. We're not talking about a 3-year or a 5-year strategic plan. What do we need to do from January 1 to December 31st of 22 to really deliver the promise of scouting? So membership growth. Membership is so important. The pandemic, again, hit us all, especially our PACs. And so we as unit commissioners need to be, or as district commissioners or ADCs or ACCs, keenly involved with your district or council membership teams to understand what new units are coming on so that you can provide a unit commissioner to that new unit, that new unit leader. What units didn't get to recharter in 21 or 20 to 21, but want to come back, and again, get them a good unit commissioner. So membership growth from the perspective of how do we as commissioners engage with them. And the overall mission statement was be enthusiastic ambassadors of scouting. I will tell you that team came up with 3 specific goals and metrics, and they will be working on those and sharing those throughout the MCC. Next is, and I alluded to this, Some of you unit commissioners I know have more than 2 or 3 units assigned to you. We need more unit commissioners, and that's nothing new. Many of you have been commissioners for decades, right? And this is always the drum. I would even beg to say that if we had 1 unit commissioner for every unit in the MCC, we'd still need more commissioners, because we need roundtable commissioners. We need, ADCs to look at our training and our awards, and all. We'll never. It's. I've heard it referred to as a marathon, not a race, but it's really, I think, a forced march that never ends. It will never end. We always have to be so constantly thinking of how do we recruit new unit commissioners, and you all know those, and that's not what the purpose of this discussion is, but we do want to develop quality commissioner profiles and identify the sources for those candidates. Communication, back to that commissioner page on the MCC website. How are we going to streamline and target those communications to relevant participants, whether it's through that website, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through targeted emails or targeted texting or whatever. We have a wide generational spread here in our unit commissioners, from some 20-year-olds up to some 80-year-olds, and we all prefer getting our communication in different manners, but we want to get it communicated. And then that's not just from the national to the visit, I'm a VA guy, to the NST, to the council, to the district, to the commissioner, but also to our unit leaders. How do we communicate effectively and targeted? And Chris and Ron Garrison and team have been working on that, and we'll continue to do that. And with your feedback, please give us your feedback. And I know we've received a lot of that over the past year. Again, back to that be the heart, build relationships. As we build those relationships, we develop a trusted relationship as the unit's best friend. At the National Commissioner meeting here 2 weeks ago on Sunday, they talked about trust and how does one build trust. And I think you all know that, right? It is to be visible, to be seen, to say you're going to do something, then to carry it out. I mean, that's a simplification, but the only way you're going to be able to build trust is to build that relationship and have the unit leader know that you are there for them. And they can't do that via email or text. They have to see our faces once in a while. And we have to get to where they're at. Go to the camporees, and I know you guys do that well. I went to the camporee back in October. That was held. The Brownsea Island. It was great to see the commissioner tent out there serving coffee and donuts, and I got the person to. That's exactly what we do, right? They know that we're there, and then when they ask for help, we're responsive and timely in that help. That's how you build relationships and trust. And the recharter. Wayne and Ron Scholl and Ron Gordon and the rest of you, even the recharter champions at the district level, this has been a wild and crazy year with change. We're building a plane while it's in flight, basically, and redesigning it with Internet Recharter 2.0. And we've been resilient, and we've given feedback, and we will make our goal for those units that need to and want to recharter by the end of March. Those are our big rocks. Next slide. I only got 20 more to go, guys, so I promise just a few minutes. Hopefully you've all seen the Facebook page, Coffee with the Commissioner. You know what? I don't know if you can see that because of the background there, but there it is. There's my coffee, right? I like playing with that. I want you to engage too, and many of you have. Feel free to post stuff that you want to share. And it is not just limited to commissioners. I've invited unit leaders, because really that's just another opportunity for unit leaders and commissioners to connect. And yes, there's Instagram and Twitter, and I kind of tried that when I took on this role last June to hit all of those media points, but I've really found that Facebook seemed to get the most hits in interaction. And sometimes it's just a little meme about coffee, right? Like the one I put the other day of, I had so much coffee this morning, I got to work and realized I forgot my car. So feel free to share those. But then I do like to share the information locally and nationally on commissioner updates. And there are many commissioner pages, and National does a great job of having a commissioner page for Roundtable, a commissioner page for education and training. So if you're getting duplicate, I'm sorry, you're going to get it, because not everybody's doing that. But I want you to know about, and I do actually have, so when I have the opportunity, I know Gary Muir told me he has like 3 of these, but he is a patch collector. So if I have the opportunity, get it upside down, right side up, to actually see you at an event, and we sit at a table and share either real coffee or virtual coffee, I carry these in my pockets, and I love to share these with you all for the great job you're doing for our units. Next slide. All right, so what is the road ahead? So we have limited commissioner resources, and what I mean by that is people, right? So we have to be smart about the people and our alignment and our job duties. And we have, not just from the Great Lakes side, but from an MCC perspective or NST or national. And Mark and Dave DeBerg and myself are going to meet next month and really kind of focus on how we can best utilize our limited commissioner resources, and really try to meet that mission that we as commissioners have, because it's so important to make sure that we have the right people in the right roles and not being too duplicative, when we can use maybe somebody's expertise and passion in an area that they really want to take care of. So we're going to look at that. We'll love to get your feedback as after our meeting when we kind of evaluate that, or even Mark may reach out to you before now and in the middle of April on your thoughts. As I stated in the beginning, we need to focus on those new units. That's not new. If you go back to commissioner basic training, that is so important that within the first 2 to 3 years, that new units have a commissioner that are assigned to them, an experienced commissioner who can make sure that they are there along the way to grow them. I assigned a unit commissioner to the scout troop that's meeting today outside here, and they are a girl unit that started February 1st, 2019, and so now we are 3 years and 1 month past that. They started with 5 girls. They have 19 scouts. 19 scouts. They've almost quadrupled their size in 3 years. And if you talk to the unit commissioners assigned to them and others, they are amazed at how they run their program in such a short time with the basic rules of how we run a Scouts BSA unit. Their scoutmaster went to Wood Badge and got beaded last year. They've sent 2 scouts to NYLT last year, 1 to Nail. 2 of those scouts are now on the NYLT staff down at Crossroads of America, and we have 4 scouts from the unit going back to that course in April, and they are the only 4 girls going to that, at least at the last count, to the Crossroads of America Counseling in Indiana. The 4 females attending as participants are coming from MCC. Isn't that something? And there's Chris putting in a plug. If you haven't been to Wood Badge, we have a couple opportunities here in the MCC. Focus on low performing units. So new units, low performing units. Again, those are the ones with limited resources of commissioners. You know which units are doing well. They need the occasional visit. We don't want to forget about them. But what if we only have, what was the number? 360, 289? No, there we go. 138 commissioners or something like that, Ben, Mark. We need them focused on the low performing and new units, and then continue to partner with membership and identify when you're at those meetings, at the PAC meeting or the troop meeting, that leader whose son or daughter is about to eagle out, and maybe an opportunity for them to take on a role as commissioning, or perhaps a new Eagle Scout who just is heading off to college, or maybe finished college. They don't have to be Eagle Scouts. An engaged active scout who's finishing up their 4 years at college, at State, at Michigan, at Wayne State, wherever they're at, and still connecting with you. I will tell a quick story before I finish up, and I'm about to finish up. We were leaving the MCC executive board meeting in October past, and there was a pickup truck sitting outside the Eagle Scout headquarters, and gentleman rolled down his window as I was walking by, and he says, "Hey, is this where I can volunteer to be in scouting?" And he's about my age, or a couple years older. I said, "Sure is." And he says, "Well, I was just out here. I'm from the Hazlitt area, visiting my parents' farm and helping them out with a couple things. And I heard that the new scout shop had opened. I thought I'd stop by and see if I could volunteer." Of course, it was a Saturday. It was closed. So I gave him my name and number and email. I said, "Let's go have some coffee at Big B's in Okemos." We met 2 weeks later. He is now a commissioner for the Chief Okemos district. That's how you do it, folks. You wear a scouting sweatshirt, t-shirt to the mall, to Dick's, when you can, and somebody's going to walk up. "I used to be a scout." "Oh, really? Well, let's have a conversation." So there are a lot of ways, the friendstorming, the running list, and looking at Wood Badge and Eagle list, but there are other subtle ways that we can do it. And we need to be nimble. We need to be quick. We need to be able to move on all of these things and identify a unit when it's about to, we should know sooner rather than later when they're about to be in trouble. So be nimble in our recruiting, be nimble in our service to units. So I think that would be my last slide.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it. And I know you've got a team of people in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
And, the scouts that are out there right now, and they were out in a cold night last night, right? I mean, it's 14 degrees here this morning.
I was going to say it was 13 degrees at about, yeah. So it's about the same. Yeah. But they'll survive.
Yeah.
We haven't lost one yet.
Get their polar bear patch for sure. So
yeah.
Anyways, well, thank you very much for your for joining us, and we really appreciate your leadership and all you're doing to support. You've been a great asset to all of us, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for inviting me again, Mark and team.
Great job.
Thanks. Well, shifting gears now. It's again with great honor. We have a very important commissioner who's joining us today. He is the technology chair for the National Commissioner Service Team. This is the United States of America Commissioner Team. So with great honor, we have our own Mike Weber, who will be presenting to us today. And Mike, I think we've been exchanging chats. If you don't mind doing your own slides, I can do them for you, or you can do them yourself.
I will go ahead and share. I just need to be given opportunity to be able to do that. It's disabled right now, so I'll let Chris do some magic. But while he's doing that magic and enables my opportunity to flip slides, a couple things here. Yeah, let me just double check here. Nope, still disabled. But first of all, Mark, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity. Call a shout out here to your entire team. Thank you each for taking the time today to share this get together. Mark's got a tremendous agenda for all of you. I think it's going to be a great learning opportunity. These commissioner conferences, by the way, go back a good 20, 25 years. Craig Youngman, for anyone that may or may not know that name, was an area commissioner back when we were all individual councils around the state of Michigan. And he held a statewide, because we had 9 to 11 different councils at the time. He held a commissioner conference there, and Tall Pine Council, and of course the old Detroit Area Council and Huron Valley Council also held their own commissioner conferences. So these are long-term opportunities for continual training. They're just absolutely beneficial to all of us. It's nice to see as well some familiar names. For those that don't know me, I just live up in the Flint area and have been around Michigan all my life. And I grew up in the Detroit Area Council back in the 60s. So it's nice to see and be around a lot of familiar faces here today. What I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to see if I can share.
You can share now, Mike. You're good.
Thanks a lot, Mark, and also Tim. I'm going to share some material with you today that some of you may have already seen, and it's been in a variety of forums that I've reviewed this kind of information. But there's information here that I want to help you with. One, to demystify all the different technologies that are available, technology tools available to us. I want to talk first with the unit commissioners, and then I want to talk with the administrative commissioners. But as a whole, all of you need to be able to see what these tools are, how they interrelate each other, how the importance of one is relied upon with the importance of the other. And I want to make certain that you understand that big picture. We'll have some question and answer opportunity at the end. But what I'd like you to do is one of two things. As you have a question anytime during what I'm talking about, either write it down or put it into the chat. And that way then between Mark and I, we can field those questions. He can help maybe serve as a moderator, and we can deal with the questions that way, or we'll use a hand raise, some kind of technique. But I don't want you to lose at least the opportunity for having a question. And if we run out of time, because you've got a tight agenda today, we'll make certain that those questions are sent to me, and I'll send out an answer to those questions that aren't answered. So please think about what is going to be reviewed here today, and then make certain that you get your question taken care of. I developed this slide. It's a new slide I hadn't thought of before, but as I was putting together material for today's work, I wanted to share with you just a simple definition of technology. And when we think of technology, you can think of this computer that we're all on talking today, your phone, even your car has technology built into it. You've got technology all around your home, those that use Alexa and other things like that. Technology is the development and the application of some basic tools and methods to help us solve problems and fulfill our needs. We've got a lot of problems that as commissioners we're working on. We have a lot of needs that we need to fulfill. And the technology that I'm going to talk about today, many of you have seen, you've touched, you've used, but I'm going to look at it from a different perspective than I think many of you perhaps have today. And I'm certain that I'm going to teach something new to each one of you. The outline that I'm going to cover today is what commissioner data is most useful and why. I haven't counted it up, but there's probably between 40 and 50 different reports and data entry means that you can have in the My.Scouting suite of technology and commissioner technologies. So I want to boil that down to what is the most useful. And I'm going to tell you what at least Mike Weber thinks is the why for why that's important for you to use. And everything will hinge on unit health. Mark and Tim both talked early about unit health and unit service. At the end of the day, we all have an obligation to work with our units in one way or the other, whether it be in an administrative role, a roundtable role, or specifically the unit commissioner role, on helping our units to have higher unit health. Different data at different levels. As a unit commissioner, you're the boots on the ground. Mark and Tim talked about that. But you are responsible for helping to input a lot of data, then that at the administrative level, they're looking at to try to help ensure that we're applying resources where needed. How easy is it to find those reports that you don't use that frequently? I'm going to give you a tool at the end here that will help all of you easily identify whatever you need. And then at the very end, I'm going to just talk about some other technology that I won't go into detail, but it'll be available to you. And this entire presentation, Mark's already mentioned through the course of the day here, everything's going to be available. This will also. We have an updated commissioner focus, and that is, as I mentioned earlier, unit health, but that results in youth retention and unit retention. We used to focus very heavily on unit retention, but today, because of the change in the focus of where councils are going, there are 5 key metrics that all councils are responsible for. The Michigan Crossroads Council is no different. One of the 5 key metrics is youth retention. And we've got to make certain that we play that strong role in helping those units be strong so that the youth want to stay in the program. So everything starts here. And I'm going to walk through some of these slides rather quickly, because again, you have all this information in front of you, and some of it you will already know, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want to call attention to a few things in detail, and then other things I'm going to breeze through. So it all starts with My.Scouting. Once you sign in there, you've got the menu at the top, and then you've got the BSA Learn Center, which I think most of you are familiar with in terms of youth protection, but it's also where you can get ongoing training. But then you've got the training manager, you've got the roster, and you've got the commissioner tools. That's where I'm going to focus most of my time this morning. But what are the best tools to use first for a unit commissioner, and then also for the administrative commissioner? And let's focus on the unit commissioner here for the next 15, 20 minutes. These are the key things that I think each of you need to be most focused on. You need to know who are the leaders in your units, how to get in touch with people at a district level, making those contacts, and then using the contact method as a commissioner's notebook. And you'll hear me use that term again so that you can document your comments. Unit advancement. You need to understand where is the unit today in terms of their advancement as well as their activity. And then you also need to ensure that those leaders are trained so they're able to put on an effective program in a safe environment. Let's talk about the why first on the rosters. Knowing the key people in the unit to contact will help you build relationships. Without relationships, and of course, Tim talked about the culture of the Boy Scouts that we're moving towards, building relationships is your means of being able to accomplish your task in a friendly environment so that you're accepted and you're valued, you're trusted. You need to know how to contact those people, and you need to make certain that you're able to then to follow up with the help that's needed. If you don't know who those people are, you're going to have a hard time doing the job. Key district level contacts. You're going to be raising your hand on occasion for help that needs to be deployed from a district perspective back to the unit. How do you find those people? And then as well, understanding the unit. Is it well balanced? Is there a need perhaps for recruitment at different age levels? As you know what the youth grade and age listings are, you're going to have a better understanding of the relative weakness and strengths within those units. So how do you find some of this information? Here's where I'm going to move quickly through some of this stuff because I'll give you this cheat sheet at the end. And likewise, you'll have a copy of this presentation. But again, everything, as I mentioned earlier, starts with the My.Scouting menu and roster there that you see on the left-hand side. The roster page will come up. If you're at a district level, then you can dial down to your particular unit. You can hit the filter key and you can export the roster. You can also filter it to just the youth. You can filter it just to the adults or the members of the Key 3. And you've got a very simple document here that you can review. You can export it either to an Excel type format or a very handy PDF. Let's talk about then the district leaders. How do I find that information? Quite honestly, it's not a lot different. You're going to go into the menu, you're going to go into roster, and again, you'll just filter basically to be able to get to your organization at a district level and then be able to print out and export anything that you need to within the district level. Let's talk about the age and how you find that. We're focused here on the roster for a minute, so that makes everything's pretty simple in this case. Again, focus back down to selecting your organizational level. In this case, it'll be your unit that you are interested in. And then once you get there, this one is kind of tricky. You hover over the print command. Now, I'll give you some inside information. Eventually, we're going to fix that so that you don't have to hover it. Don't look for it next month. Don't look for it in the next 6 months. But within the next year, we're looking at a major change to our commissioner tools, and we'll make this a little bit more simpler and more intuitive. But in the meantime, you've got to know how to get this information. So again, you're into the roster, and you're going to hover over the print, and you'll be able to print a youth member age report that looks like this. And again, this happens to be at a troop level, so you see the grade levels accordingly. Let's talk about unit contacts. We all know that they're important, but what are some of the details behind that why? Again, I'll reinforce the continual relationship building that you need to have with your unit leaders. And they may change on occasion as you work with them over a period of time. You also need to know who is beginning to move out of particular positions, and are there going to be holes left in there? Again, you want to build that relationship. You want to begin to learn as much as you can about that unit. And as you make those contacts, you're going to become on a first name basis with various leaders, with how the program is developed and presented and the content and the quality. You're going to be able to monitor the progress over time and see, have they been able to adapt and make changes? Are there particular strengths or weaknesses? In particular, are there areas that need help? It's hard to know just watching a unit, being the person standing in the back of the room where help is needed. It's best when you do that on a face-to-face and a relationship dialogue kind of basis. But then all more importantly, even at the end, you want to be able to help celebrate successes in a number of different ways. And that's all about learning the units. If you're not in visiting your unit on a regular basis, you can define what regular means. But if you're not there on a regular basis, it's hard to learn the details, the ins and outs of those units. Understanding the unit health status obviously comes from learning about the unit itself and providing the valuable help where and when it's needed. Here's the concept of a commissioner's notebook. I'll tell you anecdotally, I had a fifth grade teacher up in Oak Park that taught me that a piece of paper never forgets. The concept there is that as you write things down, it will always be available to you when you need it. Those of you that have even more than one unit, you're going to need to be able to remember what it was that you talked about last week or last night, so that a month, 2 months from now, as you have many other units that you've been talking with, who did you talk with? What did you observe? What were the good things? What were the bad things? What were the things that need some follow-up? What was your assignment? What was the assignment that you wanted the unit to follow? Whatever it may be, it's best to document that information in any one of those contact forms, whether they be the detailed or the simple assessment. Keep that information readily handy to yourself. It is a log that you can go back and check at any point in time. It's also valuable information for your administrative commissioner once we get into that part of the business. So I talk about unit contacts, and you might ask, so which one do I use when and why? Detailed assessments, and we saw that there weren't too many that were done this early in the year. That is a perfect tool for understanding any of the unit activities, the unit health, the program, the finance, the leaders, the training, etc. And it's highly recommended that you do this on a collaborative basis, meaning that you're sitting down with the key three, and at a minimum, the unit leader and the committee chair. Talk with them at least once a year. I recommend that you do that in the first quarter. I see that as a opportunity where the year isn't quite as busy as it is in other times of the year. Hopefully your charter activities behind you. You're looking forward to May and June, the end of the school year, possible some transition happening among the leadership. It gets you kind of prepared through the course of the summer into the fall for things that you can work on. And then we hit the fall, and we all know all the things that are happening in the fall. First quarter of the year is when I recommend detailed assessments to be done. And make certain that you include your comments, where help is needed, succession planning, potential unit commissioner candidates. Tim talked about our shortage of unit commissioners. Across the country, I will tell you that we are 40% short of the number of commissioners that we need to meet all of our needs. We're in a continual recruiting mode. Here's the perfect opportunity. And then develop a service plan when you have that opportunity as well. That's one of the last things that you do in the detailed assessment. And I will tell you again, anecdotally, I've been a past Scoutmaster, and I'm currently COR, Chartered Organizational Rep for that unit. And I've been the COR there for over 30 years. That is one of the stronger units that's not only in that district, but also within the Michigan Crossroads Council. Every single year, we will come up with at least 2 or 3 different items that we can put together to help that unit stronger going through a unit service plan. So just because the unit scores a 4 or more doesn't mean a unit service plan is not needed. It's recommended, and I think of value and help to everybody involved. Simple assessments cover everything else. It's great for any other time that you're making a contact throughout the year. And again, document your information. Use that as your commissioner notebook. It's an opportunity to just capture notes that is easily used later. And then if the health score has changed from what you developed in the detailed assessments, usually it's incrementally up and down, but for the most part, it probably hasn't changed significantly. So moving a little quicker here, how do I enter unit contacts and assessments? Again, starting with the My.Scouting menu, you're going to go down to Commissioner Tools, you're going to select your contacts, and you're going to select your organization level. You can see here we've got in the contacts area, select that, work yourself down into your unit. Once you're in your unit, this will come up. You've got your complete log of all the other assessments that have been done throughout the year. You've got a quick summary of your unit, and you've got all the health indicator scores that you developed during that detailed assessment. And you've got the opportunity then to capture, then adding a new contact. And once you do, then from there, everything just kind of flows naturally in line. Let's talk about unit advancements and activities. You want to know, is the youth that are in the unit advancing? Yes or no? And if not, what's happening? Do you need to have a, kind of a side conversation at some point in time with the unit leader? Can happen at a detailed assessment, but you may want to monitor this throughout the year. Same with service projects. Are they doing any? Is that something that you need to encourage them? Maybe give them some ideas. How engaged are the youth and the adults? That's a good observation as well. Is it a small group? Is it a broader group? Is it the whole unit? All of these are indicators of unit health and how strong they are, how mature they are. Certainly new units, they're not doing that as much. Weak units with weak leadership, weak participation, those are going to be things that you're going to want to help opportunities with to make them stronger and better. So how do I find this information? This is not the most intuitive, so it's important that you understand how to find this if you don't know already. Again, you're back into Commissioner Tools, and you're going to click on the contacts down here. And once you get to your set of units, again, you're into the district level. When you've selected the district level, then this will show up with all the units, and you're going to click the radial that's there. And you will, again, hover over the print. Actually, I think this one you click, I apologize, you'll click the print, and you can come down here, and you'll see unit advancement report. And then this is what will come up. And it's the same information, by the way, that's in Scout Book. Those two are side by side. They're all the same information from the same database pulling out of there. Activities, unit activities, it's essentially the same thing. All you're going to do once you click on the radial for your unit, you're going to go ahead and click on the print again. There's the unit summary for activities report. And this is what the activities report will look like. And it, again, is all the same information that's in Scout Book. Let's switch to unit leader training and why that's important. Not that it's not already obvious, but let me point out a few of the things. Trained leaders in their specific role, I hope you'll agree with me, can serve their youth better than if they're not trained. Trained leaders are also helpful in terms of improving the unit health because they'll understand this game that Baden-Powell developed. And they'll know, what comes next instead of having to continually try to figure it out on their own. We have to make certain that youth protection is key in the factor as well. We need safety across the board. Us as commissioners need to set that example. And then there's also an opportunity to forecast and know in advance when leaders' YPT will expire. It's important for you to have a handy look at that so that you can forewarn folks, particularly before they get into the charter phase. It becomes problematic and time consuming if we get into the charter renewal process and we've got unit leaders that still have to complete their youth protection so that it doesn't expire. Please help make certain that that's done in plenty of time. And then again, all of these are indicators for unit health. And as you begin to understand better where you can help the leaders in terms of their training, you're going to make that unit stronger overall. So how do I find the training details? Well, we've talked about Commissioner Tools so far. We've talked about roster. Now we're into Training Manager. So that's the third element in the My.Scouting suite. Click on Training Manager, and this will come up in terms of whatever level you are, whether it's at the MCC level or at your district level or even at a unit level. Here's the dashboard, and this happens to be at a PAC level. So we can see that youth protection in this case is very good. We see that the basic training has some opportunities. When you get into the reports phase, and you'll click one or the other down at the bottom, and you can see that there's then 2 reports you can run, either the trained leaders report or the YPT aging report, and you'll get all the information then that you need. Here's an example of the trained leader position in very Christmas color-like fashion. You can see in this particular case, we have 1 den leader that's not trained. Not a lot of work here, but certainly an opportunity to get 100%. And then you've got the same kind of a report that will show up for YPT. And again, this unit we already know is at 100%. So from a unit commissioner perspective, 4 main things that I talked about: your listing of leaders, your unit contacts, your unit advancement and activity summary, as well as training opportunities. They all will help you to know who the leaders are, build those relationships, continually understand and work at evaluating and improving the unit health with the end goal that you want to make certain that we're going to improve unit and youth retention. I mentioned this cheat sheet to you. So this is something that, and I'll backtrack for a moment. I've only been in this job since June of 21. So what's that, 8 months or thereabouts. And when I was in the transition phase this time last year, I'll be honest with you, in spite of the fact that I'd been a council commissioner and a regional commissioner, I was always struggling with remembering. Okay, I've been disabled, can't show my screen. I was always struggling with where certain things were. And so I developed a chart that would help me find different things. So that's what this chart is. Across the top here, you see a table of contents. These are what Mike Weber thinks are all the things related to serving as a unit commissioner. Now, the things that are in bold, those are the things we talked about today. I won't discourage you from looking at any of the other things, but I want to encourage you that the first and most important things are the ones that we talked about. I have a phrase that those who have been around me for a while will understand. It's called the WIFM statement. What's in it for me? That's an acronym. And basically, it's the value add. Why is any of these important to your job? Well, here's a listing of why they help you do your job better. Because we have a non-intuitive and hard to remember location for all of these things, there's 3 different places. If you're looking for the training status, obviously you're going to go to training manager. If you're looking at roster information, you can get to roster. Those are semi-intuitive, but I want to get you in the ballpark. And then this is a path. This is not a URL. This is strictly path. So for example, if I want to look at unit health, assessing unit health, I've got opportunities here to do either a detailed assessment or I could fill in a simple assessment, for example. But I'm going to get into Commissioner Tools, hit Contacts, select my unit, and then go to the Contact button and click on Detailed Assessment. So that's how you use this. This is also available on our Commissioner's website as well. Okay, take a deep breath, and let's move on to talking about the Administrative Commissioner. And those that are unit commissioners, I'm hoping that you've got some questions that we can talk about at the end. I want to get through this part so that we can manage time effectively, and then we'll cover those questions when we get to the end. Here again is Mike Weber's list of those things that he thinks are most important for administrative commissioners. And quickly, for starters, we talk about the dashboard. Then we talk about the reports that you can generate as a result of all you unit commissioners that have now put in information so that we can not only look at the assignments that the administrative commissioners will do, but those contacts. And looking at the assessments with comments, looking at what priority needs you have, and reviewing roundtable attendance. So how can this data help us affect positive results? Well, Tim again talked about having an adequate number of unit commissioners. At least we're going to focus on priorities in the short term with the new units and with the commissioners that are, with the units rather, that are struggling the most and have low unit scores, but we need more commissioners. Trained commissioners is important. We talked about commissioners serving units are important. And here's the priorities that we talked about. There's also a more detailed listing that you can look at here as administrative commissioners for how to break this down in the finer granulation. Deploying units, deploying help to units with priority needs, and finally, roundtables. We'll come back to that. Council dashboard, quickly, and Mark did a nice job in reviewing this at the beginning, but I want to go through just a little bit of detail to help you as administrative commissioners to think in terms of questions. And these are questions either as a district commissioner that you're talking with your unit commissioners about, or even at Mark's level that he might be talking with some of you at a district or an ACC level. At the top, you've got active units and commissioners. Mark talked earlier about this big number. This happens to be the Michigan Crossroads Council total. When you click on that, you're going to see a breakdown of all those different functional responsibilities. This is a little old number. I don't know what we are today, but at the given time, we were at 334 commissioners. Remember that for just a moment. Mark again talked earlier. He wasn't too concerned about this number, 128, and I'm not either. But I look at 299 and I remember quickly that 334 were the number of unit commissioners that I have, meaning 35 commissioners are not assigned a unit. 35 commissioners are sitting on the sideline, or it's just a district commissioner that hasn't entered the information into commissioner tools. I would ask the question, how can we have 35 commissioners that are not assigned units? We want to make sure that all of our units are, all of our commissioners are effectively serving a unit. I look over here and I see the number of unassigned units. If those are all troops with 4.0 or greater scores, I'm okay. But if these are units that have a 1 or 2, 2.5 score, or they're new units, I'm concerned, and I would ask a district commissioner to reassign or at least reassess assigning so that we can make certain that we make this number so that they aren't the units that are in trouble. 150 completed roundtables. Mark talked about that as well. You can do some quick division and figure out if you're the number where you want to be. Interesting that this was taken at the end of the year. If you look down at the bottom, you see this was done last fall in the middle of November. I look at 61 simple assessments. I would hope that by November, we've talked to every single unit. But if not, and if these are just the units that have assigned commissioners to, then I feel pretty good about that. So the number by itself, you can't tell all the answers, but it's an opportunity to get an indicator. So again, it's data at a glance. But I do see that I've got only 25, almost 26% detailed assessments. By November, and again, Mike Weber would recommend that you do detailed assessments, at least one in the first quarter of the year. I would hope this number would be a lot bigger by this time of the year. Service plan summary and unit summaries down here, and then the charter renewal status. Wayne and certainly the rest of the team have further developed excellent tools. Wayne spent a good 10 minutes reviewing where you guys are. This is a snapshot. You've got way more sophisticated data, and my hat's off to the way MCC manages their recharter information. But if you do run this report, and I guess I took that slide out, your information is so much better that this report is just kind of a quick see. We're going to go ahead at the national level and see what we can do to make some improvements there, but stay tuned. So again, why are these things important? We've covered these before. You get the idea of why looking at the data at a council dashboard or even a district dashboard level is important. But what additional reports can be run and how are they important to us? These are 6 that I think are important. And they're important so that you can monitor commissioner growth. They're important so that you can monitor how your coverage is across your district. They're important so that you can make certain that you have trained commissioners and they can be more effective. They're important so that you can understand the unit health, either across the council or where there are pockets of issues within a district. Where is the support needed? And are people attending roundtables? Are they effective? Is further work needed to help improve those? Dashboard again. At a glance, you've got all the information, but click on the reports And here's where you're going to begin to see the listing of all the reports if you're not that familiar with them already. When we look at the first one here, assigned and unassigned reports, you can click this on a date range, but if it's not otherwise selected, it's going to be since the first of the year. Here's the assigned and unassigned reports. This is in an Excel format. You've got when was the last contact, what was the last assessment. You can see who was assigned and who's not assigned. You can see that we've got 4 units unassigned, 3 of which are not assigned to a unit that has a 1 health score. We've got when they're going to expire. And in this case, those 3 units were dropped. This is what that same report looks like in a PDF format. Very clean looking and very easy to read. If you look at the assigned and unassigned commissioner importance, I think we're going to quickly understand that you've got the ability here to have a complete roster of all the information that's available for you with everything right at your fingertips. So this is what that commissioner report would look like. Again, some of the private information here has been blocked out for presentation purposes, but should you ever need it, you've got the member IDs, you've got what position they're holding, you've got who's assigned and who's unassigned. You've got when the expiry date is as a commissioner. This happens to be when the district is rechartered. And as a district commissioner, you need to make certain that if you've got new commissioners to get them on the list when that charter comes up in June, you've again got 60-day grace period, just like we do with units. Make certain that all of your unit commissioners and your assistant district commissioners, et cetera, are all on that district charter. And then you've got the assignments, and you can begin to see, have I overassigned individuals certain places or not? That's your decision to make, but at least you've got that handy reference that you can look at on a needed basis. Commissioner contacts, who's engaged and who's not. Again, think of yourself now as the administrative commissioner, whether you're an ACC or a district commissioner. You want to know who's making contacts, who's not. How can you help that commissioner maybe be more engaged who's not particularly engaged? If they're not writing in the contacts, is it just because they have a data issue? Do they have a bandwidth issue? Are they afraid of computers? Are they afraid of technology? Maybe they need some help. Maybe it's an old timer that is getting tired. Who knows what? There's a lot of reasons. The thing is that as an administrative commissioner, you want to review this report and understand who's not making contributions, and then what conversation, what follow-up do you need to have so that you can ensure you've got an engaged team. I reluctantly at times gracefully retired commissioners. They had done their service. I thanked them. We found other opportunities for them to do. I needed commissioners, and I was a district commissioner for 7 years. And I needed to have my commissioners ensuring that they were serving their units effectively. So do your best as an administrative commissioner to help ensure that you've got an engaged commissioner, because if they are, then they're going to help ensure, at least to a better extent, that they're providing not only good unit service, but ultimately that unit health is going to improve. Here's a report that if you've never run before, it's called the District Contact Stats Report. I'll confess I'm an engineer, but I think this is the best report that we have. And again, I recommend it be run only at a district level. Click the export to CSV and analyze. Once you do, you're going to get a page come up that's called Unit Contact Visual Analysis. You see this browse, you've got to fill in that file. In your downloads, there was a file that was created. You just need to look it up and slip it in there. And if I went through this too quickly and you need some further work on how to do this, here's a video that will be a tutorial on how to create this chart that I'm going to show you. This is the chart run here. Quickly, visually, I see that there are 6 units that were not contacted this year, at least by November. But I also noticed their troops. I may or may not be concerned because it could be that those troops are all performing pretty well. I see here that about half of these units have had a detailed assessment. That's what the orange block means. I also see that, all the other units have had pretty good contacts, and I've got a few units out here that have had more than the standard amount. So great job, great visual chart. Great to show at a meeting, great to share with other people as needed. The other thing, and I encouraged earlier with all the unit commissioners to make certain that you keep comments. These comments are important for yourself individually as a unit commissioner for all the reasons I said earlier, but they have a secondary benefit. What helps here is that now the administrative commissioner, whether they be an ADC or the district commissioner, can look for patterns. They can look for where trouble spots are. They can look for good news stories. They can look for opportunities to share best practices, opportunities to talk about things in the district commissioner meeting. Not that you're calling out individuals, you're calling out opportunities to share with the team as a learning experience. Also, it's the opportunity for those ADCs and the district commissioner to see who's engaged, who's not. How can I help my unit commissioners be more effective? Are there things that I need to cover as a whole for the whole team? Or again, are there individual one-on-one learning opportunities that I need to have with those folks? And then one of the most important things we have that's found in a detailed assessment is this thing called priority needs. It's in every single detailed assessment. It's not always used, but where it is used, it's effectively important. There are 7 different categories that can be identified. And we've got so many units, particularly PACs, that need help. This is the place to get it. Now, as a district commissioner or as an ADC, I can quickly see that I've got patterns here. And what I might do if I were a district commissioner is focus on any one of these 3 in a different district commissioner meeting. Talk about new members, or no members rather. Talk about the need for orientation. Talk about what we can do to help weak leadership improve. These are great learning topics, training topics to talk about, and opportunities to help really in a training moment across your district commissioners how to be a better unit commissioner. Let's shift gears now and talk about training and why that's important. Probably self-explanatory, but quickly, a trained commissioner obviously can be more effective. They'll increase their success factor if they've got the basic training out of the way, but continual training is going to help encourage them to be strong and more engaged. This particular conference that you're a part of is one of the key things that you can accomplish. Attend these every year. These change over time in terms of the content, the topics. They're all topical of the day. You also have, and I mentioned it earlier, the district commissioner meetings. Always, district commissioners, please have a 10-minute training topic that you cover. It could be issues that you're seeing. It could be new information that's coming down the pike. It could be any number of things. Keep your unit commissioners informed. Tim talked about it as well in one of his top 5 blocks, the big rocks that he's following this year. Pass along the information, share it, keep everybody informed. Everybody informed is going to make a stronger team. And then finally, you've got the colleges of commissioner science. Those are invaluable. Work your way on up through the process and get as much knowledge and understanding as you can. Because as we do, again, we're going to come back to that unit health. We need to be trained, informed, and helpful so that the unit health is strong at the end of the day. We talked about training earlier. This is the similar slide of what we had before. Each of you as administrative commissioners can call this up. You can look at this information. Please do that. You can find out quickly here in this particular district who's not trained and what we need to do to try to help work with those individuals and get them trained. Roundtable reports. I'm a strong believer in roundtable. I had one of the best roundtable leaders when I was a Cub Master, and I looked forward to going to those roundtables every month to learn more about what I can do. But what you need to understand as an administrative commissioner is why do we have units that are not attending and who are they? We need to understand, is there an issue with roundtable awareness or maybe a lack of importance understanding? We've got so many new units and particularly PACs with leadership turnover that they don't attend because they don't know about it. They don't understand the importance of it. We've got to get the word out to those folks. And if we don't know who they are, then we don't know who to talk with. And it requires follow-up then in order to be able to accommodate that. The other thing that I'd recommend at Mark's level and then even at Tim's level is to have a a roundtable workshop at least once a year. And let's talk about the delivery method of what our roundtables are looking like, when they're held, what kind of material is in there, leadership. Mark gave a shout out to all the roundtable commissioners. Is it time that some of you want to change roles? Is that something that we need to help to improve our roundtable delivery? I don't know. I don't know the answers to those things, but you need to ask those questions so that you can get in there and help make roundtable as effective as it can be with broad attendance across each district. This is the perfect opportunity for units to get self-help. They can go in, learn what the material is that they need to know to go back each month and run their units more effectively. So how do we find out some of that information? You come back to the dashboard, you click on the reports. Here's a roundtable history that we've got all throughout the entire year. You've got what was the last roundtable piece of information. If we were to click on these 3 dots for the April 13th meeting, we can quickly find out how many Cub Scout units attended, how many Scout BSA units attended. Again, I look at this data, and roughly we've got twice as many packs in the district as we do troops. This is in reverse. So we've got, at best, a quarter of our packs attending. How come? And what are we going to do about it? It's valuable to call up this report on a periodic basis to understand what's happening in our districts so that we can go out and have meaningful discussions and action plans to change that. And then again, you see, we're only serving overall 23% of our district. If we come back to this for a moment, we can go back to the raw data, and you can find out individually each unit here on the left with looking across here. This is January, February, March, April, all the way across the board. You can see these units that we talked about earlier that had scores of 1, they never attended a roundtable. That may have been some of the reason why they ended up dropping. But this is valuable information for you to use at your disposal to try to help change the picture that we're seeing. So in summary, we've got these tools on the left. We're focused on unit health. We're focused on safety. We're focused on making certain that we're delivering the program as best we can from the position that you have as administrative commissioners. And here's a corresponding, again, affectionately called cheat sheet to help you find what you're looking for. This is one of 3 pages because the administrative job has more choices. Again, all these in bold items are the ones that I talked about earlier today. Here's the WIFM, the what's in it for me, where to go to find it, and the path. Down at the bottom here, and I didn't have this on the unit commissioner one, if you went to the commissioner website, and you can Google this as a matter of fact, BSA commissioner website, it'll come up. On the left-hand side is a menu. Almost at the bottom is the technology page. If you scroll halfway down the technology page, you're going to find 4 different reports. I showed you 2 already. There's one for the roundtable and there's one that's a general. And you can click on this directly. It'll take you to this whole slide and you can have that information and share it broadly among all of your commissioners as needed. Some other things quickly, and then I'm going to open it up to Q&A for a few minutes. This is obviously the web-based tool that we've talked about and that I've shown screenshots of. There's also the mobile app. You can go into your favorite phone store and look up my.scouting or my scouting, and you'll find this, and you can download it. In there, when you click on the button that shows as a BSA symbol, you'll get into your personal dashboard, and it'll have all your units that you've got assigned to you, or at whatever level you are in the organization, you can access information accordingly. Couple of last things here. There's a number of technology access points. This is the scouting.org page. These are all the different things that are available to you. If you were to click on the scouting.org/commissioners, all of this information here is available to you at your fingertips. It used to be that a lot of this was paper copy. Because it changes and because that's a lot of paper, it's so handy to have it at the click of a mouse on your computer. And then here's a couple other things that I encourage you to look into. Tim talked about the Commissioner's Coffee Corner. That's available on his Facebook page. Here are some other Facebook opportunities that you can get engaged with. LinkedIn, if you're there, Yahoo, if you're there. There's a variety of scouting forums that you can have dialogues. There's 2 or 3 or 4 that might be of interest to you. And there's a lot of Q&A that goes on there regularly. You may even have your own question that you want to submit. So at this time, Mark, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm happy to field questions for as long as you want to take the time, or if we exhaust questions, then you can move on and get done earlier.
Sure. Thank you, Mike. That was amazing. Every time I hear you speak and the wealth of knowledge you have about commissioner work and certainly the technology that you're involved in now, we're really fortunate to have you on this call. So thank you for sharing all that you did, not only about technology, but about commissioner work in general. So thank you very much. Team, any questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. Mike shared an awful lot. These slides will be available to you afterwards. In fact, right after this is over, I will be sending out the slides to everybody on this call. Any questions?
Let's see what we have in the chat.
Nothing yet so far.
Okay. And again, some of this stuff you may be using already, and that's outstanding, whether you're a unit commissioner or administrative commissioner. I'm hoping that the way I presented this and some of the things that I highlighted are opportunities for you to look at the way you do your job differently with, again, always the focus on unit health. I mentioned this, how do you grow roundtable attendance? My best answer for that would be in your district commissioner meeting first. Make certain that all of your unit commissioners are promoting it. Have them have their own dialogue with every single unit. Do they know about it? Do they know where it is? Do they know when it is? If it's online and you're not doing it in person yet, how do they get access to those things? They may be getting the emails. Maybe it's going to spam. Maybe they blow it off. Make certain that they understand that a roundtable is there. What is roundtable? Why should they go? Give them some examples. From a district admin perspective, are each of you satisfied with how well roundtable is going? Maybe do a survey among everybody that is involved with roundtable that either is attending or not attending, or maybe only attended once. Why didn't they go back a second time? Learn some of that information and then work on those details. Those are some of the things for starters. Another question here. When we get into commissioner tools, how do we see the status of each individual unit? I think I missed something when taking notes since I can't find the last piece. So go back through my notes that I sent you. The individual unit does not have a dashboard per se. I viewed one yesterday, as a matter of fact, in my team meeting. I hinted earlier that we're going to look at upgrading commissioner tools. I developed a mantra within my team when I took over in June: simple, useful, and intuitive. I think we've got a lot of useful tools, but we perhaps have more tools than we need. It's not always easy to find things. It's not intuitive. And I want to make certain that everything that we use is simple. We're going to come up with a unit dashboard. It will be filled with much of the same kind of stuff that you find at the council and district today, but it's going to have even more detail that you can get your hands on at fingertips ability. And we're going to make some of this stuff shareable even beyond commissioners. We're also looking at a better district dashboard that we can interchange and maybe even help out our folks in membership and finance. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming. That's early behind the curtains stuff, and stay tuned. It likely won't be until sometime next year, but as we are able to get the budget money and make things happen, we'll do that. Do you know when new commissioners can sign up online instead of a paper app? I will double check that. I thought that, oh, okay. So once you're a member, once you've got a membership number, you obviously are considered a registered member of the Boy Scouts. To be a unit commissioner at this point in time, it has to go through the registrar. There's a number of things that the registrar has to do to make certain that you have access to all the right tools. That's been in discussion. I don't have a good answer on when or if we'll be able to do it, but it certainly has been on our discussion topic, and we'll continue to keep it there and see what we can do. When can a district multiple be able to use the online system? Not sure I understand that question from Fred, and I apologize. A district multiple obviously is a person that's got a couple of functional roles. They might be a unit commissioner, and they might also be a member of their unit carrying another hat as well. I think that, I guess, Fred, if you'll send me an email, and I'm happy to make my email available to all of you. I'll put it into the chat here, but send me an email and send it with as many attachments or pictures, screenshots that you can describing your question or your problem, and I'm happy to answer them. I get, whoops, that's Comcast.net. I will do that again. But I
just got released from vocal confinement here. So just real quickly, what last time I checked, I haven't tried to do this in a while, so I could be wrong, but if a person is a unit scout and is active in any other scouting position, and we try to put them on a district roster, we have to use paper apps. That's the issue. Is multiples can be done at unit level online. They cannot be done at district level.
That's correct. Yeah, within the unit, you've got that opportunity to functionally move people around. But when you're looking at different district level functions, it's because there's a code that's attached to you, and it gives you access to different things. And the registrar is in charge of those codes, and that's why that needs to happen as I understand it today.
Okay, that makes sense.
Again, if anybody has any other questions or issues, help me with as good a description as you can, and I'll make certain I get back to you. Mark, I certainly don't need to take up any more of your time than necessary. I was happy to be able to do this today. It's a bit of a homecoming for those that don't know me very well. I mentioned earlier that I had a fifth grade teacher in Oak Park, so that tells you where I grew up. Graduated from Ferndale High School, PAC 1517 out of Best Elementary School in the Oak Park, or in the Ferndale school system is where my PAC was, and Troop 1542 out of the Drayton Avenue Presbyterian Church was where I earned my Eagle Scout. And from there, I moved up into the Flint area, and I've been up here ever since. So happy to be in a homecoming, and I'm happy that the Flint area came back into the Great Lakes Division, so that I'm back home completely.
Well, we're really glad to have you here and have you back home, and you're always welcome, Mike. We really appreciate you being here.
Mark, thanks a lot. And my thanks to all of you again for attending today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. You've got 4 outstanding breakouts. You can't go wrong with anyone you pick. Take advantage of the 2 that you're taking, and happy scouting. And thanks so much for all that you guys do. We're going to make the Great Lakes Division here one of the strongest divisions in the country. And it's with the efforts that you guys put into it that we have that opportunity. So Mark, good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you, Mike. And Don and Lee, I saw you had questions in there. We will address those after the meeting. So thank you very much for that. With that, what I'd like to do is to take a quick break. Hopefully all of you have been assigned. If you haven't been assigned to a breakout at this point, please make sure that you put a number next to your name, and Chris Hopkins will take care of you and make sure that you get put into your room. Let's shoot to be back online at about 10:50. It's around 10:42 right now. 10:50 in your breakout rooms. By that point, Chris will have assigned everybody to the breakout rooms, and we'll start in our first breakout. So thank you, everybody. 8-minute break, and we'll see you in the breakout rooms.
Um,
You're back.
yeah, I see. No. Now where do I go? Uh,
Do you see the breakout rooms out, Gordy?
no.
Nope, no breakout room button.
Same here, no breakout room button.
Can you see Danny? He wants to go to 4. Danny wants to go to 4.
You can send me to 4-2. Get me there.
I could go wherever too.
Danny, are you in 4?
I'm supposed to be in 4. I'm one of the instructors.
Sorry about that. Are you on your iPhone now?
No, I'm having a problem with that, so that's not going.
Oh, you got him away. It's just kidding. Hey, can you assign that other oops.
All right, do you see me yet? Hello, hello.
Hold on 1 second, Ron.
Oh, God. Shoot, speaker's coming through. Scott, can you say anything?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, Scott, I see a little green, like a lock. And it says, your client connection is encrypted.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Dave. Hey, you're unmuted. You're unbridled there.
Yeah. Ring Central didn't work for about a dozen of us.
Oh,
We
no.
did- we-
What happened?
We never got into the breakout sessions.
Oh, no. Yikes. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Scott and Chris were working hard to make it happen, but
And we think it's a client issue, depending on whether they join from the web browser or the client.
Okay.
So what I'm going to suggest is those people, I think we're going to take a break. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark.
Well, we're just flipping to the second session
Okay,
here. So I don't know how many folks are we all back in now?
I think looks like 91. So I think.
Okay. Looks like we all are. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you step back over to session 1, please? It gave me a sign and told me to leave.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna go back in, Ken, when you're done. So everybody that's a moderator will go back into their sessions. But everybody else, if you don't mind putting the number corresponding to the next session you want to go to. And then Chris, is there an issue right now with getting everybody in? Is that what you're saying?
Asking for permission now.
Yeah, there's a couple folks. So I'm going to try to move Dave. I'm going to open the rooms and we're going to try.
Chris, I had to download the Ring Central to my computer.
Yeah.
In order to get to the breakout room.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear about that, everybody. Gotta love technology, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, there's got to be at least one blip somewhere. So you just had it. So we're
I
all
know.
good to move on.
Yes, that's right.
When all else fails, always blame the technology first.
Hey, Chris, I just seen a rejoin the meeting. Do you want me to hit that?
You can, but I think they're getting ready to break.
All right. We're here till noon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it'll probably be a few minutes after, but
Well, I'm going to punch out. Thank you for your help, Chris.
yeah, you're welcome.
You have a good day.
You
Be
too.
safe, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Chris.
Yep. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I just see we're all coming back now. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
Boy, I was writing mid statement and got dumped.
You didn't want to finish your thought anyway, Fred.
No, I didn't, but it's in the chat if anybody got it. But anyway, it's a book it's the one that National in the training courses really pushes, and I have found it very useful personally.
What was it again?
The New Breed, Understanding and Equipping the 21st Century Volunteer. If you Google that, it pops right up on Amazon. Thomas W. McKee is the author. And anyway, it talks a lot about why people are the way they are and what you can do about it. And sometimes it works, sometimes not so much. It's still a challenge. There's no magic silver bullets in it, but it's very helpful in terms of understanding people.
Sounds good.
Mr. Awesome Foster, you have the power.
Hey, I'm just very impressed and feeling very blessed that on my grid on my screen, I'm above Stephen Buckman. And he's the man. And I didn't mean
great Steves talk alike.
Yeah, and when I said above, it was only geographically speaking, not ability.
Okay. Chris, are we all back now? I'm assuming we're all back. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I sat in on two of the breakout sessions and the dialogue was amazing. So thanks for your participation, and also thanks to the moderators who made it happen. Unfortunately, as you can tell right now, we are running a bit behind. And unfortunately, that puts a little bit of pressure on the remaining folks that'll be speaking. So I've sent a note to both Dan and to Verna, who will be leading us towards the end here, that we're going to have to keep it brief. So I appreciate you sticking with us and for your patience. And with that, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get to Verna, Miss Verna Morawski. Verna is our Assistant Council Commissioner of the North area, which encompasses Blue Water, Blue Star, and Rivers North. And Verna does a number of things for scouting, but we want her to talk to us a little bit about training and what opportunities there are for commissioners. So without further ado, Verna, I'm going to turn it over to you. Hopefully your microphone is off and you can chat about training.
Most of the training we already know as seasoned veterans, shall I say. We, of course, have the YPT, which you're supposed to take every 2 years. I myself take it every year, and I suggest everyone else do it. That way you never have to worry about it expiring and taking the extra time to do it. No, my youngest son tried to go on here just a little while ago to do the video. It won't work today, so we'll have to see what's happening. You can go ahead and change slide. These are all online modules, and they all deal with unit commissioners. Check it out. Look at them. They're a great source of information. Change slide, please. Roundtable commissioners, you have your own set. Go ahead and check them out. They're online. You don't have to take them all at one sitting. Go ahead and check each one as you have time. Reflect on them. Put them into service. Change, please. Safety, can't talk enough about it. As a camp commissioner in the summer, these are all something that you should have in your repertoire to keep abreast and to keep your units in line. Go ahead and change. Succession planning, another thing I can't talk enough about. If you don't have a succession plan, your units are going to have problems. Volunteer recruitment, Mike Weber dealt with it earlier. Our impact on membership, can't speak enough about it. Go ahead and change. Journey to Excellence. This is a way to evaluate your units. Do one in the beginning of the year and then do one at recharter time. Look at the differences. Look where you need to adjust your programming. Look where you need to concentrate your program on. Go ahead and change. Market analysis. This is a way to find out where your units are located and what the abilities of the units are or where the units are located. Be it in the city where you have 2 or 3 units around you, you're servicing quite a few people, or be it like in my area, rural, where we have 2, 3 troops in one pack. Yes, we need to grow, but the only way we can grow is by looking at the demographics and lifestyle that we have in our areas. Go ahead and change. There are many different ways to develop your information, to learn There's the impact sessions, there's on-demand sessions. You don't have to go to our own college. You can go to any of the colleges. And there will be details forthcoming in the next month or so about how the commissioner colleges will be doing their information now and how you will be invited to participate in them. Go ahead and change. Change, please.
Oh, it's changed.
I didn't notice it. Training sessions don't have to be local, although Wood Badge and Powderhorn are great ways to learn what your leaders are learning and are good training sessions. Philmont, registration's now open if you desire to go out there. I know that's on my bucket list yet. It's a great way to learn new aspects at national level to bring home to that you can use at your local level. If you want more information, I suggest you talk to Wayne Hastings. I know he's been out there, as well as many of our other commissioners. Go ahead and change if the, or is that the last one? Okay,
That's it.
Dan, you're up.
Well, first of all, thank you, Verna, and sorry again to put the pressure on you. And I know you had more notes, and but we appreciate all your support, and thanks for taking on our training presentation. With that, Dan, over to you to talk a little bit about awards.
All right, move to the next tile. I mentioned in one of the breakouts, the big thing here with the awards is make sure that you are already fully trained so you can earn them. I know in the award certificates, you'll see where it talks about orientation. That's an outdated term. So really, the criteria has changed since last September. I do have it on a spreadsheet that I send out to all the district commissioners. You can talk to them, it's on there, but if there's any questions about whether you are or whether you're not, just get a hold of me. Next time. And here I threw them up there. You can see the fully trained badge that I added to that. If you are fully trained, I do send these out to the district commissioners. They do have them. The common ones you see are the Arrowhead, the Key get talked about a lot. One of the things that would be nice is I know the Award of Excellence is a real stumbling block for a lot of folks. There's a lot of moving pieces to that. I did create a Word document for the Arrowhead, the Key, and the Award of Excellence. And I can send that out to everybody. I was going to try to get it out to the DCs, and I didn't get it out this week as I had hoped to because I ran into other problems. But one of the things that we don't see much of, and I haven't seen in a while, is anybody nominating anybody for the Distinguished Commissioner. That's a lot like the Award of Merit. You know, you type up why you feel that that person should get that. I have a review committee that I submit it to. They review it. Before the committee sees it, I redact the names and the district. And I send it out. So it's purely on merit. And once I get a go from everybody, then I reveal the name, and then we really put it in progress. Another thing that I don't see getting used much of is the certificate of commendation, which you see up on the top right. This could be used not only by our own division commissioner, Tim, the MC commissioner, but the district commissioners can also use this. Is a way of really thanking somebody for, you know, the work that they put in. Maybe you have a YPT champion, maybe you have your district rechartering champion. This is something that can be downloaded and used by them, and I encourage you to do so. You get into the doctoral knot, there's a little confusion there. A lot of people have thought if you get the degree, you get the knot. No, there's more moving pieces. You can get the doctorate degree from the college, but still not have completed what you need to complete for the knot, and there's more there. On any of this stuff, if there's any confusion, please contact me. I would love to, for any award that anybody's going to, I'd like to get them on the right path before they get into it and find out they're 2 or 3 years into an award and find out that they're not eligible. Next slide. I've talked about the guidelines. These are the guidelines that I've created Word documents for, and they're there. I can send them to you directly, and I plan on shooting them out to the DCs fairly quick. Next slide. You can check your own status. You know, you should be, when you log into your MyDot Scouting account, you can check in where there's a little spot there where it says My Training. You can click on that, check your own. It should show you what you need to take and what's not taken. Or you can double check with your district commissioner, because he has the spreadsheet that I put out, and that will actually show what I see that you need. If there's any disputes or training didn't get entered for some reason, please let your district commissioner or myself know. You can see my email is right there, no problem. Next slide.
Okay.
Yeah, this got broke up. Oh, this isn't for me. Next, I'm good. This is you, Mark.
That's all right. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for all you do. Dan works really hard on the training and making sure that opportunities are made available to everyone. So we encourage you to look at these awards and also work with Dan to make sure that you're eligible for these awards. So with that, we have 3 awards we want to talk about here today. We have 2 Arrowhead honors that Alan Medwick earned for the Roundtable. He's has an Arrowhead for Roundtable, and also Kezar, and sorry, Kezar, if I pronounced your name wrong, Tertarian for Unit Commissioner. So both Alan and Kezar have earned their Arrowheads and will be receiving those shortly. And then we also want to mention that this is actually last year, but we're just catching up with him. Lonnie Johnson, who had already had his commissioner key as a unit commissioner, has also earned his commissioner key for district commissioner. So you can actually earn a key for both. So that's something to keep in mind. Dan, any points you want to make on the commissioner awards before we move to the final slides?
Yep, we have one mistake there. Alan Medwick is actually the assistant roundtable, and it's actually the key. He's already got his Arrowhead, so that's one thing that we do have adjusted.
I apologize. That is my mistake. That was Alan. Sorry about that. So we will make that change, and we will have that taken care of. All right. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to stop my screen share. And first of all, before we go to Steve Foster, who will be taking us home here, I want to say thank you to all of you for attending today. I thought the discussions were great, especially in the roundtables. A lot of excellent discussion. And I also want to thank Chris Hopkins and Scott Waldron, who've been behind the scenes making sure that all of this goes smoothly. So thank you all for attending. Sorry we ran a little bit late today, but I hope you have a great afternoon. We will have this presentation ready for you right after the conference. I'll send it out immediately afterwards. This deck will come to you as a PDF. So without further ado, Mr. Steve Foster, the awesome Steve Foster, I have my can of awesome air here if you can see it. I would like you to take us home.
Hey, I've got refills for that. So can everybody see my screen okay?
We can.
Far out. All right. So big shout out to the awesome Mark and his crew in making this happen today. You know, I have to be honest, I feel inspired to up my engagement in scouting for 2022, and a big hand to all those others that helped make this happen today. I know from personal experience, it takes a crew to make it happen. So our challenge as commissioners is to be our best in helping our units improve. I heard a lot of great ideas today that will help us stabilize membership and hopefully increase their engagement through great programming. Now, each one of us I know has unique skills and resources that we can use to assist our students. And we need to make sure that we have some fun, because if the adults aren't having fun, neither are the kids. You know, I still believe in the mission of scouting and the principles that help develop quality young adults. And with all of the COVID protocols and all the crazy stuff that we've had to do, it's impacted our program. But, we did have summer camp last year, and even with all of the protocols that were implemented, the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. We need to make sure that we're always promoting program and getting back to camping. With the 6 MCC camps that were in operation last year, we retained a 90% satisfaction rating. And I think that's pretty awesome. With all the protocols that were in place, it's really, truly a huge accomplishment. And the really awesome statistic is that we had 5,445 scouts in camp last year. That is pretty bloody amazing. Over the years, my personal experience has shown that a healthy outdoor program keeps our scouts engaged and involved through their 18th birthday. And fortunately, in spite of COVID, we had 11,891 unit camping trips reported in 2021. I also didn't even know until recently that we tracked the number of miles hiked, and that was 28,228 miles for our council. I suspect it's more than that. And so let's make sure that we have our units report their service hours and all those other items. I can't wait to see what happens in the 2022 annual report. Don't forget to have fun, because nothing is better than having ice cream on a hot day at summer camp. So many adventures are to be had in scouting. I just love being able to see the smiles, the laughing, the great times that scouts have together in these outdoor activities. It's just amazing. As you can probably tell, I love running around with my camera, taking pictures of anybody that's happy, and that's usually not hard. Service project work is something also that I really admire in scouting. I've appreciated it. And you know what? You had 43,466 service hours reported last year. And considering that not everybody reports those hours, this is just like really, really awesome. And for those that participated in the Scouting for Food project, we had 110,000 pounds of food that was collected. Again, that is awesome. And another thing that I was paying attention to this past year, with COVID going on, we still had 31,517 merit badges earned. And here's a young lad doing kayaking. We go over to Eagle Scout, which is the goal of most of our scouts to strive and achieve. 2021, we had 768 new Eagle Scouts for MCC. Now, over the years, as I became more involved in district and council levels, I discerned a number of common traits, characteristics, attributes, if you will, that I see in the Eagle Scouts that I encounter. I tell you that these things can be summarized into 4 key points. Self-reliance, where the scout learns, adapts, can rely on their strength and their knowledge to overcome the obstacles that they encounter. Our Eagle Scouts have effectively demonstrated on their journey that they've carefully cultivated this key skill that'll serve them into their adult life. Character, where the 12 points of the Scout Law are so embedded into our scouts, they're frequently the first selection when character is key. Leadership, which is the cornerstone of the Eagle Scout project, is when the scout becomes the person that everyone turns to when someone's needed to step up and make things happen. I know that this is a key attribute that our scouts are going to cherish and continue to develop through their entire life. That we just need to make sure that we keep encouraging these opportunities. And last is service to others, where the scout becomes a servant to others through their deeds and their actions in our community. As Eagle Scouts, they know and recognize that they'll be watched And we need to make sure that we encourage these tendencies to always watch out for others. You know, I personally find watching this happen in our scouts, especially if you're fortunate enough to meet somebody when they're 11 and then when they're 17, they become an Eagle Scout, the growth is really, really exciting. And part of the reason that I know that you are all still involved in scouting and that I have for the last 57 years, proudly saying, even though now I guess I'm elderly now. You know, I believe that when we work with our scouts, that we need to make sure that we always encourage and refrain from saying it can't be done. Now, obviously, there's some things that safety might play a role. And maybe I'll share a story that you might find interesting. Years ago, there was a newly minted Boy Scout that transitioned over from Webelos into scouting. And even though this particular scout was had just turned 11, he didn't know how to swim. In fact, he was afraid of the water, like he would never get in above his knees. He was unable to attend his troop's annual canoe trip in September that was on the Rifle River. And quite frankly, he was totally devastated. So without talking to anybody over the winter, he read books on swimming. He watched the swim competition on the small black and white television in his parents' living room. And since his school didn't have a pool, he did something that others kind of ridiculed him for, as he practiced swimming on the bleachers in the gym. He was told it was dumb and he couldn't teach himself how to swim, but he continued to do this for the entire winter and he didn't tell anybody. Now, next year, when the summer camp swim test time came, he went to the edge of the dock and he jumped in. Amazingly, and to the surprise of his scoutmaster, he passed the swim test, knowing only 2 strokes that he could do. He was able to earn his swimming merit badge that year, and then he never missed another canoe trip with his troop. The following year, he earned the life-saving merit badge, and he eventually became a member of the aquatic staff at DeBarre before he aged out as a youth scout. Now, the reason I share this is that we need to be mindful not to tell a scout they can't accomplish something because we perceive that they don't have those skills. I will add that this scout earned the 1-mile swim badge and subsequently the 5-mile swim the following 2 years after that first summer camp experience. And I still like swimming today, by the way. All right, so for me, 2021 was rewarding, and being back at camping at summer camp was so much fun. I kind of view our challenge for 2022 is to build on the momentum that we started last year. We need to help make sure that our units are healthy, bring more youth into scouting, to help rebuild units that took a pause or had to drop because of COVID or lack of volunteers, and I kind of view that as a priority. We need to continue to promote roundtable attendance and other training opportunities. For we as commissioners, I think we need to make sure we make an effort to continue our training journey, whether it be virtually or in person. You know, when I take a course that I feel pretty familiar with, I always come away with something new or something that I had forgotten and I've relearned. So a good place to start is to register for the Commissioners College when that registration portal opens up. I know that we're up to the task. I know that we will be prepared. I know that we can do it. So let's help our scouts have an awesome experience. Don't forget to have fun. Engage our units as often as we can. Keep our eyes open. Listen more than talk. Watch out for others that might be good members to add to our Commissioner Corps. And like was said earlier by Tim, be nimble. And I so love that word, along with be awesome. Spread the enthusiasm wherever you go. Support, uplift our frontline leaders like the awesome commissioners that I know we are. And here is a newly minted Scoutmaster saying, see you later on the trail or on the river. And back to you, Mr. Bentley. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I can't say anything more at this point. I just want to say thank you, Steve, and thank you everyone for all your participation. It was a great meeting, and I hope you all have a great afternoon. Take care, everyone.